Roland Mumford with Mumford.law. Today I have a video about two clients of mine that were maliciously prosecuted by a detective and law enforcement in Wayne County, Georgia. My first client spent around 136 days in jail while he was completely innocent, and my other client spent approximately 32 days in jail, and he was completely innocent. In this video, we're going to show you first a video from local news media to kind of explain the backstory on how my clients were set up by a detective and another person who falsely accused them of rape. And this was so bad that the district attorney for that jurisdiction did a 30-minute or so press conference and did a PowerPoint presentation and went through the litany of facts showing the fraudulent basis on which my two clients were arrested and charged with a crime. And we'll be filing a malicious prosecution claim under Section 1983. And what are the elements for a Section 1983 claim? Well, one, defendant initiated or continued a criminal case without probable cause, with malice, and the case ended in their favor, like a dismissal or an acquittal. There has to be a favorable outcome. Malicious prosecution means someone was wrongly charged with a crime, often without real evidence, just to harass them or cover something up. Under Section 1983, this becomes a constitutional issue if it violates that person's Fourth Amendment rights, like being seized without probable cause. So we're going to take a look at this news story, but then I'm going to play the interview that my two clients gave today to a local news media outlet, and you can hear the story from them directly. I hope you enjoy this.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us for the News at 6. I'm Dawn Baker. Mike Sela has the night off. Continuing our breaking news coverage on the case we've been following out of Wayne County, Georgia. The district attorney has found police misconduct in the connected drug and rape investigations of John Jankowski and Weldon Lawson. WTOC's Tyler Mannion listened in to the news conference today as the announcement was made. He joins us now live from the newsroom with more on what the DA found.
Dawn, the charges go back to an undercover operation that investigators initially claimed sent an officer to the hospital. We're now learning the district attorney says there was misconduct throughout that operation. District Attorney Keith Higgins says an undercover officer was flirtatiously interacting with Jankowski at the Chop House restaurant and left her drink unguarded on multiple occasions. The next day, a hospital test turned up traces of oxycodone in her system, but that drug is different than the drug they later found Jankowski had. Higgins also said there's video evidence of that officer groping Jankowski and not the other way around, but that the officer was coached into writing a false report after the fact by a sheriff's office investigator. That investigator going on to falsify victim statements, as described here by the DA.
I've actually personally talked with Jan Wogemuth as early as this morning with regard to that, and she verified that she never made these statements ever to anyone. And so when Brad Kicklighter says that she said something, it just isn't true. We have an individual who is untrustworthy, that can't be trusted. We're not going to prosecute cases based upon his word.
DA Higgins says he's talked with the Wayne County Sheriff who employs Brad Kicklighter. He says based on that conversation, he believes Kicklighter has not been let go and his involvement will impact around 40 different cases now that the district attorney's office will refuse to use him in their cases. Higgins also says he's passing all of this information to the state's prosecutorial office for further investigation.
The egregious conduct that this particular detective, Bradley Kicklighter, he engaged in led to criminal charges for my client, John Jankowski. These false charges included criminal attempt to commit rape, distribution of a controlled substance, reckless conduct, sexual battery, amongst a number of other charges. We will be alleging in our lawsuit that this detective acted with malice, a reckless disregard for the truth. And here's some key points that were put out by the district attorney in that jurisdiction in that press conference that I previously referenced to. In a particular PowerPoint presentation that he had up before some press media, he stated under a caption, police misconduct. stated that Brad Kicklighter provided a cheat sheet of bullet points to the undercover officer for her to use in preparing her report. Next, Brad Kicklighter falsely stated in his police report that Jan Wogemuth says she was naked when she regained consciousness at Jankowski's house. Next, Brad Kicklighter falsely testified at the preliminary hearing that Jan Wogemuth says she was naked when she regained consciousness at Jankowski's house, and she believed Jankowski was also naked. Fourth, Brad Kicklighter falsely stated in his affidavits and applications for search warrants that Jan Wogemuth says she was naked and when she regained consciousness at Jankowski's house. These are a number of factors. These are a number of the facts that were pointed out by the district attorney, which will be explicitly stated in our lawsuit to be filed in federal court. And this demonstrates the malice, the reckless disregard for the truth, the fraud by this particular detective and those assisting him in these false charges against both of my clients. So here's the interview that my client gave to a news media today. We have the video, and you can hear directly from the clients what they experienced.
Here was that.
Seat up there.
Well,
I've got one back there. Today.
everybody that's been keeping up with it, we were both kind of set up by a detective and an undercover officer, and everything finally came to light. And with the help of my family, Saint's family, my lawyers, they proved that Mr. Kicklighter had lied about everything. I got a GBI report, stating that, he lied about it. He committed perjury. He lied. It's pure and simple. And the DA and GBI found out about it. And I'm telling you, I got down on my knees and cried and prayed that day when they finally announced it. But it's put both Tank and I through hell for the last 2.5 years. Not only us, but our family, my kids. My kids went through pure hell. And just because somebody wanted to lie about something. And I just don't know how other put it. And, a corrupt police officer is bad news. And Tank was a damn good police officer. 26 years on the force, he'd lose his job, pension, everything. 41 years at my job, I lost my job, lost everything I got. I'm living in a shed down there behind my sister's house because of it. And it's just awful, and I listened to the undercover girl that was setting me up. I listened to her GBI report last night, and first time I've listened to it, and it really shocked me how stupid she was, that she didn't even know what was going on. She was so drunk that she didn't know what was going on. And she told the GBI that, Kicklighter told her everything to put down on her report. That she didn't know what happened. And it was on her body camera that, they said I groped her. I didn't grope her. The GBI asked her, said, the only piece of person we see groping anybody is you groping John. Well, I was just trying to get frisky with him and get in with him. And he said, well, okay, you groped him. He didn't grope you. And then he left right after you groped him. Yeah, him and 2 other girls he was with left. I wasn't even around for the rest of the night. And, well, what else to say? I mean, it's just been an awful 2.5 years of my life.
For those that don't know, going back to the context as to what caused that, you were charged with criminal attempt to commit rape, reckless conduct, distribution of a Schedule II controlled substance, and sexual battery.
Mm-hmm.
You say you didn't do any of that.
Yep. The pill bottle I had on my keychain, just like people with heart problems have nitroglycerin on their keychain. I had metformin, diabetes medicine that I could take twice a day, and I had one of them pill bottles to keep some in case I wasn't home to take it when I'm supposed to take it. And that's what it was, metformin. And he tried to say it was a drug that she got drugged with. Well, I know for a fact, or I don't know for a fact, I'm going by hearsay, but I heard one of my friends tell me he knows the nurse that gave her the drug test. He said there wasn't nothing in our system. And now, they still saying there was.
So investigators said several women had come forward with stories of being drugged by you. Did you do that?
No, I didn't do that. I don't do it no more. I used to like going out and having a few drinks and buying shots for people. And, when a petite girl had 4 or 5 drinks and then 4 or 5 shots on top of that, that's 10 drinks. Anybody don't black out. There ain't nobody blacked out around me. And they all just said they thought they got drugged by me. Nobody ever accused me.
Well, then on your side, obviously charged with rape, that was dropped. What?
It's still a mystery to me as far as what happened. I don't know any of the people involved. And it's just, I showed up to my home, searched my house, just really, it was a bad time. It was a bad experience. It really changed my life and outlook on I'm saying, I'm trying to get yellow on. I don't need to cuss or nothing. But this it just wasn't right. It just wasn't right how they I still had school age children at the time. My son just graduated this past May. He had to listen to all his lies and girls, at school and things like that. So it's just just lies. Just
Pure
made up stories that for whatever reason the young man decided he want to dogs destroy people's lives, basically. This is what it came out with.
Like I said, both, did you rape anyone?
Absolutely not.
John, when we were talking last year at this time, you said I spent 136 days in a jail cell because of his expletive, and he's going to pay for it. Speaking of kick lighter, he's still employed by the Wayne County Sheriff's Office now.
And that's what we can't understand, and why he's been charged with all these charges. Why is he still employed by the Wayne County Sheriff's Department? Our taxpayers' money's paying him because he's evidently appealed the case. I don't know how long it sit there and be appealed, but my understanding was District Attorney Higgins went to Sheriff Mosley and told him about these charges on kick lighter and said, you need to take more to trial. Well, Sheriff Mosley told Higgins, if you want warrants taken out on you, take them out. And then we ain't heard nothing since. That's been 2 years now that he's been still up there working. He's not allowed to arrest anybody or anything like that. I think he's working in the courtroom. serving warrants to people, and that's about it.
So how would you like to see him pay for it?
I'd like to see him spend 136 days in jail until they figure out what they're going to do to him. I mean, that was just pure hell, man. Pure hell. And it's so frustrating when I think about it. And I'd like to see him lose his job, him lose his house, just like Frank and I have. We've lost everything. We've lost our lives. If it wouldn't have been for my family, I don't know what I'd do. It's just, it's tough, man. It's tough.
Now we talk about a lawsuit on the way.
We both have the same lawyer, Roland Mumford, and he is working on something for us right now, matter of fact.
What are you hoping that accomplishes?
Compensation. I've spent my entire life savings from lawyer fees, and, like I say, I lost everything, and I want compensated for 136 days sitting in jail being treated like a murderer. And, that's not a pretty place to be. I've never been in there, and I don't want to go back. Other than that one time, I think we ought to be compensated to live comfortable the rest of our life.
When D.A. Higgins was doing that press conference last year, he mentioned that there were a dozen plus witness statements that didn't match investigator summaries when he went back and checked. Why do you think that's the case?
Because they were all lying. They were all, I think, fans of kick ladders, and one of them, matter of fact, is my sister, one of her best friends. His name was right out in the courtroom. Well, my sister gets out of the courtroom, and then she calls Rita up and says, Rita, why are you accusing my brother of drugging you and insulting you? She said, I ain't talking to nobody. Half of them didn't even talk to the DA. They just wrote a bunch of names down. That's what I'm saying. It's all a bunch of lies.
And you mentioned that last year you believed Chick Ladder was doing this because you guys had some kind of history.
Yeah, we have history. I don't. My brother and my son had history with him back in 2017, and he worked for Pierce County Police Department over there. And he showed up at a party, iron ore party that some people were having out there, and drunk, and got in confrontation with one of the guys there, and my brother went up to him and actually told him, said, leave him alone. And he went and he done something. I think he put his finger like this in my brother's chest right there and said, you get the hell out of my way, or something like that. And my brother threw him across the room. Well, he gets up and comes back at him again, and he threw him across the room again. Well, then the other guy was taking Kick Ladder out and taking him for a ride, and, trying to calm him down. It's all in the GBI report, and I didn't know about it until I got a lot better. My brother never kept it from me, but
you think that's the motivation? At least a year ago, you thought that was.
I want to say my son's name's John Yankowski. I'm John Yankowski Sr., and I don't know that part of it, but I think he was looking for some retaliation a little bit on that part. it's just scary situation.
Obviously, this isn't the biggest community. A lot of people here have heard about this case, the events that have unfolded over the last few years. And what do you say to the people that don't believe you're innocent, that do believe you committed these crimes?
I just want to let them know, and I've worked in retail business at a hardware store for 41 years. I do maintenance work on people's houses, and I've worked on just about everybody's house in Wayne County and know everybody. But y'all, none of this ever happened. I just don't know how to put it, but it just totally is not true.